Good morning and welcome to day 35 of our study. We're in Mark's Gospel, chapter 10, verses 32 down through 45. Earl Weaver was a baseball manager for years for the Baltimore Orioles. He was the most argumentative of all baseball managers. In fact, they did a survey of umpires to ask who were the top four uh, baseball managers when it came to arguing. They said number one, the worst, was Earl Weaver. Number two was Earl Weaver. Number three and four were also Earl Weaver. He was head and shoulders above everyone else. In fact, he became something of a legend. And stories about how he argued with umpires would circulate. And one of my favorite ones was apparently when he was still managing in the minor leagues. An umpire was knocked unconscious. A base runner ran into him with a close play at first. The umpire went tumbling. He was out cold. And as he was finally coming to, before he opened his eyes, he said he could hear a voice asking him, was he safe or out? And without opening his eyes, the umpire said, if that's you, Earl, he was out. Here's the point. A man was hurt. A man was knocked unconscious. Could Earl Weaver have shown a bit more concern than that and not been so focused on what he wanted? Jesus tells the apostles that he's going to be arrested, he's going to be put to death, and he's going to be put to death in a horrible and painful way. Now, the normal reaction when you hear somebody say something like that is to show a little bit of concern and support. So, what did the apostles do? Right after he told them that he was going to die by being crucified, how did they respond? Two of them asked, so which one of us gets to sit on your right and which one of us gets to sit on your left? Who gets the most important positions of power? Now, we're going to see that Jesus didn't take too kindly to that attitude, to these disciples jockeying for positions over who'd have the most power in Jesus' new kingdom. He wanted his followers to be humble. Now, we all agree that humility is a good thing, but why? Why is it? That's what we're going to look at today. Why exactly is humility better than a couple of type A personalities who want to charge in and get everything done their way? So let's look at the passage. We're in Mark's Gospel, chapter 10. We're going to start in verse 32. And let's just read the first few verses. Let me find it. There we go. They were on their way up to Jerusalem with Jesus leading the way. And the disciples were astonished, while those who followed were afraid. Again, he took the 12 aside and told them, excuse me, what was going to happen to him. We are going to Jerusalem, he said, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles, who will mock and spit on him, flog him, and kill him. 3 days later, he will rise. Did Jesus get pretty specific here? Absolutely. He told them exactly what was going to happen. He's going to Jerusalem. He's going to be handed over to the Gentiles. He even told them how he would die. He's going to be crucified, but then he's going to rise from the dead. This is big news. Now, put yourself in Jesus' sandals. You know where, when, and how you're going to die. You know it's coming, and you know it's going to be painful and humiliating. How are you supposed to even deal with all that knowledge? What Jesus needs right now is some support. What he got were the apostles who completely missed what he was telling them. Because look at what they do. Very first thing, verse 35. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. Just say you're going to do it, and then we'll tell you what it is. What do you want me to do for you? He asked. This version doesn't include that Jesus was rolling his eyes at this point, but I'm sure he was. Verse 37, they replied, let one of us sit on your right and the other at your left in the glory. You don't know what you're asking, Jesus said. Can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I'm baptized with? We can, they answered. Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup and be baptized with the baptism I'm baptized with, but to sit on my right or my left is not for me to grant. Those places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. All right. James and John come to Jesus and say, "Do us a favor. Just say yes." He says, "All right, what do you want?" They want power. They want power. Notice they don't specify, tell us which one of us two gets to sit on the right and which one has to sit on the left. They don't even do that, but you can believe later on they had that argument. Jesus knows these two have no idea what they're really asking. They have no idea what they're really in for. They have no idea what serving in his kingdom is really going to be like because they're looking forward to power at this point. And is that what it takes to serve God? No. You know what it takes? Humility. These guys just want power. They're not going to be very effective. I love the story of the kid that was late getting home, and his mom asked him, "What took you so long?" He said, "We had a new traffic or new crossing guard, and he made us wait because of the traffic." The mom said, "Oh, there was too much traffic?" He goes, "Oh, no, there was no traffic. He made us wait until a couple cars came along so he could stop them." Arrogance doesn't always get the job done the right way. In fact, it almost never gets the job done the right way. And arrogance always rubs us wrong. And the thirst for power these guys had just rubs us wrong. They should have been humble. But now let's get back to our original question. Why is humility better than arrogance and ambition when it comes to serving Jesus? Now let's look at the response of the other disciples when they hear what James and John had done. And just a clue, they weren't happy. Verse 41. When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Probably because they didn't think of it first. But, anyways, verse 42. Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them and say, I'm sorry, I lost my place. And their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must first be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all." He brings up the Gentile authorities. Now, make no mistake, he means the Romans, and they'd all seen numerous examples of Romans misusing their authority. And Jesus was saying to them essentially, is that what you're aspiring to be? You want to be like the Romans? Seriously? You know what? You can aim a little higher than that. Now, hearing this had to hurt them. But look what he says next in verse 45. For even the Son of Man, who's the Son of Man? That's Jesus. He's also known as the Son of, that's right. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. Jesus tells them that even he had to be an example of humility. The word here is not servant that Jesus is using, it's actually slave. Jesus is saying, even me, even the Son of God himself, values humility and serving over bossing people around with authority. So if I see myself as a slave who's here to serve people, and if I'm the Son of God, don't come to me asking what kind of power you get. Show more humility. So, again, why is humility an advantage over arrogance? Well, the answer is found in this question. What did the disciples think they were going to be doing? What did they think their job was going to be? And what did Jesus know their jobs were going to be? So we have, what did the disciples think they were going to be doing? What did Jesus know they were going to be doing? And how far apart were those two? It's pretty obvious they thought their job was going to be sitting on thrones, having all the power, being in charge, telling everybody else what to do. Hey, they backed the right guy. The disciples are saying, look, the rabbi said you're not the Messiah. We think you are. We're backing the right guy, so our reward is going to be these positions of power and esteem. But what was Jesus's job for them? You're going to be serving, and you're going to be giving your life. You're going to be letting people know that they can be saved, and that is going to cost you your life. Now, here's the thing. Here's where we really get our answer. You cannot serve like that. You cannot truly help people. You cannot care for people And that applies not just to being a Christian, it applies to any role where you are serving or helping others. You cannot serve others with the attitude, what's in this for me? That will kill you. That will kill your job. What's in it for me? Humility lets a person say, you know what? I'm here to help others. But even more so, humility lets a person say, you know what? God's in charge. No matter how bad things are, God's in charge. And that lets you say this: I will keep going. I'll keep going no matter what. Even if I lose, God's in charge, so I can keep going no matter what. Humility is not just an aw shucks, it was nothing attitude. Real humility is knowing that God has this and God is in charge, not us. And with that idea, we can get through anything. Now, let me ask you this: has everything been going your way the last 6 weeks? I know, right? Is God still God? Is God still in charge? There are some days where probably we're all feeling like, I don't know how much more of this I can do. The news always seems to be horrible. It always seems to be controversial. We're getting discouraged. We're getting frustrated. We're getting angry. But has any of that made God stop being God? Is God still in charge? Yes. You can get through this. It may not go the way you want it to, but God is still God. He's still in charge. Be humble. Get through this. Stay positive. We'll see you tomorrow.